Welcome to the Softwarepreneur Show. My name is Pamela, and we have one of the best guests you're ever going to find in the internet world. It's one of my favorite people. He's pivotal in this journey for me, even to be sitting here talking to you today. Danny Walsh, welcome. We love talking. This is gonna be fun.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So this is the gentleman. We're gonna talk a little bit about this story first. So this is the gentleman is the reason that I maybe didn't get divorced and end up just broke and living in poverty. So the story is in July of 2017, I walked away from everything. I just said, that's it. I'm out. I need time to go and figure things out. And I landed in Mexico at a friend's house. And I could no longer sit and look at my husband in the eye as he's working every goddamn day at a job he really disliked to make money for us while I couldn't get this business off the ground. I just couldn't get it off the ground. So maybe you'll help me remember the bit of the story, but the way I tell it is really fun, right?
I like your version, and it's a pleasure to be on the show, and yes. I know we've kind of kept touch and lost touch over the years, and we've sort of both gone in different directions. But from what I can gather, you're doing the thing, and it's an amazing story. So let's kind of start from the beginning for me.
So the way I remember it is, I heard you on the Clickfunnels affiliate call, and I'm like immediately drawn to the accent, right? And it's like, this guy, there's a tone, there's a resonance in someone's voice when you know they know what they're talking about, right? There just is. There's a language. There's I call it this bass, right? Because you can hear it. And I was like, me being nothing more than courageous, not always smart, but I've been courageous. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to fucking try to call this guy. So you got on a call with me. And I remember walking around the apartment. I was walking on the phone talking to you. And you were just so generous to talk to me. And I remember saying, I need help. And you said, okay, I can help you. And I said, I don't got no money. And you said, how much money you got? And I go, I ain't got no money. And I probably said it about 3 times. And you kept saying, okay, so, but how much money do you have? I said, I'll give you my last $500.
And I remember the conversation well.
You remember it that way as well?
Yeah, and I remember the conversation, and obviously to kind of do something for somebody who's asking for help, you are always going to get people who want help.
Yes.
And for somebody to kind of help themselves, they've kind of got to buy into that stuff. Yes. And you said you've found me on a ClickFunnels affiliate program, and I'm not sure who was presenting that. I think was it Kevin at the time, or
maybe
one of the guys at ClickFunnels. And look, you know, the cap and ClickFunnels and all of that stuff has been integral part of my story. But one of the big things that I've always done and wanted to do is help people. Yeah. And you have to kind of get people to invest in your dream if you're going to invest in their dream, right? But I don't know if I was generous or crazy, but we made this agreement on the phone, and I think it has turned into something kind of amazing for us both. And you did part with your last.
I did. I gave you everything.
$500.
When I bet on you and I bet on me, probably for it was the last time I was going to do it. It was the last time I was going to try.
There's a lot of power in that, right?
Yeah.
And I remember walking around the car park at some hotel where I was working with a bunch of clients. Like, how long ago was this? This is like 6 years.
5.5 years ago.
And my journey was kind of in motion, but I'm not sure if it definitely hasn't got there. And I'm still traveling right now, you know, and it's been, certainly it was a great build up to that, but the affiliate stuff and ClickFunnels and all of those things were really taking off. And I just had this desire to help. And I remember this call, and we had some money, but there was a profound issue that resonated on that call, right? And it was, oh man, this lady not just needs help. It's not like she's got a website that's broken or something. You needed, like, I don't know. You tell me what you needed, but I kind of remember that.
Yeah, I was at the edge of, I could no longer live in the guilt and the shame. I knew I was an intelligent human being, but I couldn't get it off the ground. And I needed help. And I don't know, like you said, like why it was when it happened and who you just happened to be the one I reached out to. But I didn't know what was going to happen if if I didn't find you. And I say that all the time because I wasn't going back to Vancouver. I wasn't going back.
Oh man, and I've got a big piece of like this script of paper that like it reels off the desk. If you have like a roll of paper on the desk, and one of the things that I've written on there is like, "Don't go back," is a key. Sort of like, I know that we're going to have this conversation, and that's something that I always try and, try to get into people's minds, that there's only one kind of way to go.
Yeah.
Or you're going to stop, and that is so poignant right now that you didn't actually go back.
I couldn't go back. My pride wouldn't let me. So I remember the conversation I was telling, because I help people now do what you taught me how to do, right? And I wanted to be an affiliate for Clickfunnels, and you said, okay, this is how I remember it. Okay, go into the Facebook group right now and get 3 appointments and call me back. And click, fucking hung up on me. Like, I bit dramatic, right? But I remember you being that hard on me, and it's exactly what I needed, because I was so tired of my own fucking story, of my own fear. And I remember thinking, you're fucking crazy. That's not even possible. I don't even know what you're talking about. I stood up. I was sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I paid him. He's done something. Maybe this works. And I remember sitting down and getting those 3 appointments within 20 minutes. And I called you back. And it just went like, it was just, what the fuck? It didn't make any sense to me. And when I teach to other people, they say it's like magic. I go, yeah, it's like magic, but it's not. It's sales in general. Right?
you had that power inside all along, right? And I seem to remember, because obviously I don't kind of work with anybody, and you can't work with anybody, and there are people who will come to you and they'll pay you 5,000 or they pay you 10,000. They will want that money back because they go back. Does that make sense? They can't move out of that comfort zone. And if folks are watching this thinking, oh man, this resonates with me, a big part of any kind of success is that determination to go forward. You might not know it at the time, like perhaps you didn't at the time, but you have that power, and it isn't magic. It's already built in. It's designed. It's in there. It's designed. But people, look, we used to play a game when we do conferences, right? And what I do is I kind of say, hey, everybody, what I want you to do is kind of face the person next to you, or like a little group, and I want you to make 3 subtle changes to your appearance. So what you're going to do is you're going to face the person in front of you, and then you turn around, and when you turn around, and look, people will like move the glasses, or they turn the hat sideways, or they'll, I don't know, undo a button or whatever it is. And they turn around and they try to guess what that change is. And people think that I'm doing it like an icebreaker, right? This is some kind of ice-breaking thing. But all that stuff that they start a conference with, right? It's like, hey, everybody, we're going to do this ice-breaking thing. So I'm like, right, see if you can see what that person has changed. And you've got people tie the tie around their head, or they move the cap, or whatever it is. And we do that 3 times. And then I just shut my mouth. And as soon as I shut my mouth, people think that thing is over. So what do they then do? They put all of that crap back. Do you see how people are kind of designed to resist change as well as actually make change? And the hat goes back straight, the tie comes off, you put the tie back on, they They put the pens away, they put the shoes, whatever they've done in that moment. As soon as I shut my mouth and got quiet, every single person puts that stuff back. And there's a lot you can glean from that because, you know, when they all do it, I'm like, right, but this is the actual point. People are engineered by design, not only to have magic inside them and be amazing and fantastic and actually go forward, but you're also engineered to resist change. It's like that fight or flight kind of thing. And when you unlock that in someone's mind, it's like, oh man. And then somebody's like, well, to hell with this, and they tie the tie back around the head, right? I'll stay in this new me. And I kind of have to do that with clients or people that I talk to and work with or present to on a regular basis. And look, I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and it's amazing to see how a silly game or hanging up the phone or a direct instruction or whatever it is can unwire or reverse engineer that resistance to change.
Right.
You see how powerful that is, right? When I've kind of explained.
So true. And that's what I needed to do, was do something differently. You know, I was smart. I'd bought, you know, every course and done all that I was told how to do, except this one piece. And I was upset about it that nobody actually taught me, but yet it just was time. And
but
yeah,
your skills, you know, are some of the, you know, the accuracy and the content, and like, yeah, I mean, you get an email of Pamela and it's like, oh, there's all this stuff and it's on time and it's succinct and it's amazing. And he was kind of like a lot of other people, they've developed all of this amazing stuff, but that resistance to change or that resistance to believe is the key.
It's the whole key. And you were the one to unlock it.
Well, I'm you know, that's like an amazing success and amazing story. And to be able to do that without, you know, $500. If you could swap $500 for that, you know, it's a life changer.
Looking back, like I was like, how? Yeah, because maybe you remember more than I do, but I remember you said to me, "Okay, go and sell them something," and I was like, "Okay." I put together an offer, and then you said, "Okay, call me back with their objections." Fucking click, like in my head. You didn't do that, but you were that direct, right?
Kind of like that. But there's a thing about giving yourself permission, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I give you permission to go and do this, but there's also the accountability and that buy-in. But if you buy some course, like you said, you bought all this crap, right? You bought reams of these things. That just says, you know, click this in Facebook or click this on whatever, right? And then you do this in Clickfunnels or you do this in HighLevel or whatever it is. It doesn't actually do anything to change or redirect that person, because, you know, Russell Brunson talks about this, Tony Robbins talks about this. Internal and external beliefs are a big thing, right? And as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we can believe some crazy shit. We can believe some crazy shit. And that stuff will stop you in your tracks. And ultimately, that is what I detected on that call. And it's like, well, clearly you can do this stuff. Not only can you do it a little bit, you can do it like every single day forever without any barrier. What is actually stopping this woman from succeeding? You.
It was, right? Get to work, bitch.
They're maybe not in that way, but it's like you actually went off into a group and bagged some people, and you know, these folks who were watching you grow and learn and share information, they've been also an integral part of this story. But you've moved in the way that you was meant to move, And if I could have been a part of that, and I know other people have been a part of that, but that's just so cool. And
It's cool,
what
right?
a, you know, what a testimony, really. Can I do that with other people? Possibly, yes, it's been done, but you do get people who will immediately put the things all back on.
Yeah.
And they will immediately withdraw back into, oh man, this is not good enough. There's a guy who hired every single funnel designer, every single expert, every single guru, and he still never launched a funnel.
Right.
Or he still never launched his business.
This is such an incredible point that you're making here. And I think the reason I won was because I removed myself from my comfortable environment. I left my home. I was willing to leave everything. And I put myself in a very uncomfortable position. So that, and I've learned that about myself. That's why I do the newsletter that you're getting, and I announce what's coming next, because I'm going to create the environment. I'm not afraid of failure. That's bullshit. I'm afraid of failing in public. I fail every fucking day when I go back and get the donut. Like, come on, right? But yet, what happens is when I can engineer my environment. You and I can engineer our environment for support. Yeah.
Without a doubt. And again, there's another thing. I've wrote it on the piece of paper. I've got like, don't go back. Another thing is, if you want the island, you need to burn the boats, right?
Right.
And I know a lot of people say that thing, but it's so true. And you can imagine you've paddled for days, and you're paddling this across this damn sea, and you see the island. We want this island. Hey, everybody's going to. People have died and fallen off the boat,
right,
and thrown themselves off. People have drowned, fell off your boat. There's only you left. You're like, oh, you're getting towards the island, and then you think, right, I'm here. So you wade through the water, and you kind of get on shore, and you stand there, and you think, oh man. And then you turn around and you run back and you dive in the sea, you go back to the boat, you get in the boat and you roll that, and you're like, oh man, and there's only so many times you can go back before.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yes, you're absolutely correct.
But, you get old.
You run out of time.
You're done.
You're done.
But if you go back in that same old knackered boat that you rode for, it's got holes in it. Right? This thing, like the oars are dropped to pieces.
She's worn. Yeah.
That's done. So when you get to that island, the first thing you do is you light that. You set that boat on fire.
Have to. And we hear this, anecdotal kind of stuff all the time, but that's exactly what we have to do. I must burn that boat.
You've got to burn that sucker, but it's, you've got one match.
Yeah.
Like this, it's done. The match might go out. You might have to row to another island. You might need that boat a little bit longer, but at some point you might have gone to the wrong island. You might have gone to Snake Island. You need to get, you need to make that decision real quick. But if you know that island is where you're going to set up camp and build a community and bring your tribe and look after your people, whether it's in a software or a SaaS or whatever this thing is that you're doing, a Facebook group. If that is going to be your island and you're going to stand aloft on that mountaintop and you're going to command attention from people, there's no point having the little safety net that you can run off and jump in, because you could have thousands of people on your island all waiting. Whoa, oh, she's over there. She's in the boat. She's off. She's going.
Where's she going?
Where's she going to come back? And you look, nobody's perfect, right? And it's very strategic thinking. I'm recently and in the process right now of burning a $3 million boat.
Yes, we want to talk about that for sure.
And
what I saw in you was the ability to reinvent yourself, which we have to do all the time as business owners. We're moving on to the next thing. And every time I watched you, and I've been watching you, we're close, and then you grew and I grew, and we always will remain friends. But I've been watching you, and it's been really powerful to see how you took what you said you could do and did it. So let's talk a little bit about that, because that's really sexy.
So it's super important for me is, 2018, 2019, I think, did 40 flights one year, and I was here, there, and everywhere. And I met the people who want to go back. I met the people who wouldn't burn the boats. I met a big bunch of fantastic people like your good self, and we're still talking now. And I burned everything I could. I burned myself. And I realized that to run a business that actually helps people in business, it's kind of like you need to build that house on a solid foundation, right? And you can get to a point where you are teaching people to teach people how to teach people. And you see this all the time in courses, right? And it's like, it's theory.
Right.
But if you're not in the trenches and you're not on the front line, how do you actually grow yourself? So at some point, your ability to help people, if you're not experiencing real life business, then how can you teach somebody real life business? Does that kind of make sense?
It's absolutely. So we see it all the time on the internet. So how do you tell the difference when you go to, work with someone or not work with someone? How do you see the difference?
I think for me, it's seeing the difference in yourself. And you identified things. You've opened this show by saying, I identified these things, and I made a conscious effort to fix this shit before it got out of control. And if that meant burning that last 500 bucks or blowing that boat up in the water or whatever it was, it might have been that you had to leave a relationship or leave 10 relationships, whatever you needed to do to actually move yourself. Because you can't move everybody else, right? People will all do their own thing. And if you're not performing at your highest level and you're not consciously making these decisions, how the hell can you help somebody? So
I don't keep going. Yeah.
It's like you've got to be able to be, they talk about imposter syndrome, right? Where, people think, oh, I'm not experienced enough to do that thing. And we all suffer from that. But there's a more fundamental thing in this, that if you lose that confidence or you lose that experience and you get stuck in like a recurring, kind of like a hamster wheel of what you do, and you're not growing yourself, then how do you expect to grow that tribe? And we went over to Funnel Hacking Live, I think the start of 2018, 2019. It was one in Florida anyway. I went over there and they were pitching the 2 Comma Club big thing, and it was all amazing. And some guys came over to us and like sat down at the table, and they're like, hey, we want to sponsor you. We talked to them a little bit, and they wanted to sponsor us, and they were like, right, we'll pay for all of this stuff. And it was something like 30 grand that you had to pay to get on all of this coaching and whatnot. And we thought, right, this is amazing. And they paid some money, and we sat down and we had the dinner, and everybody jumped around with Tony Robbins, and we went back to where we came. All of a sudden, it became apparent that the credit cards and stuff that they'd used were not legitimate, and we're trying to contact these guys, and for whatever reason, that thing didn't happen. And that was like, oh man, this is not only embarrassing, like, to me, and like debilitating, and like these guys have come in and they've promised the world, and they've taken us on this crazy journey for their own reasons, and then they've kind of like disappeared into the ether. I'm like, man, I need to go and like apologize to Russell Brunson. I need to go and like speak to these guys at Clickfunnels and be like, oh man, this is, we've committed to this thing. I've committed to this thing, and I've done that under a false belief. I've done that under a false sort of rationale, and it's made me feel embarrassed. And I'm like, oh man, and then I started to look at the actual business and the things that I was doing, and realized that at that point, I didn't actually have a real business. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And sometimes there's things that will warn you. Sometimes there's things that will redirect you. There's some things that will change your journey, but sometimes there's things that just go, you need to stop doing this now and go back to school. You need to go back to the beginning, to basics, and you need to show yourself all of this stuff that you have been going on about, that you've been teaching, that you've been preaching for years, actually works. You need to get back in the trenches, right? You need to go to the front line, to the people, the customers, and you need to make sure before you ever try and help anybody ever again, or you're listening to these kind of, things that are going to steer you off course, you need to make sure that you are of sound mind, that you are capable, and that your confidence will never, ever be swayed again. And talk about burning a boat. It's like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and get back to the foundations of what I believe. I'm going to stop helping everybody. I can't help everybody. And I'm going to rebuild this from the foundation, no matter what it takes or how much it costs. We refunded a bunch of money, and it probably pissed some people off, and literally disappeared, and set to work in a really hard niche, working with some really hard people to prove not only to myself, but to clients and people watching that this stuff works. Because if I'm on that island and I've burnt my boat, I need to, not only you guys to believe it, I need to believe it. Does that kind of make sense? Because it's a big thing for me, this.
This is huge. The question I asked you was, how do you know that you're talking to a business owner or not? And you went right to the fundamentals as far as I'm concerned, which is what I've watched in myself and in others, is that until you get your own stuff right, like you said, there's no way. And the way that you can tell is if someone is vulnerable and can share the story like you just shared it. Like those are the things that that's how you know a business owner is real. And I'm really glad you didn't say the $1 million on my Stripe account, right? Shit, or the plane that they're taking pictures of and things like that. Like it's got nothing to do with any of that. And I learned that on this journey. Those are dangerous people.
Look at this thing behind me. That's artificial intelligence has created that in 3 seconds.
Right.
And now in this point in time, we've got things that can make an illusion better than anybody, right? Better than a magician.
Right.
So at this point now, it's simple. People can go on Chat GPT or Midjourney or whatever it is and create the finest bullshit.
The finest.
The finest bullshit. And that's going to, unfortunately, it's gonna rip people off. It's going to create false hope. And look, you think about funnels, right? And you think about your journey. When those guys said to me, we're going to sponsor you 30 grand and you're going on this cruise to the Caribbean with like your heroes, right? With Russell Brunson and all these people that you've put your heart and soul as an affiliate, and you've got the swag and you've got all of this stuff and you're jumping up and down and you're so excited. My life depended on that stuff happening.
Right.
And there's a big realization there that when I teach somebody or help somebody, they, just like you, have put everything on the line. They need this stuff to happen. And you talk about, I don't know, one funnel away or one conversation away, or you're always one thing away. But some people have made 50 attempts at that, and that boat is sinking and it's not going to row anymore. They're not going to be able to ever go forward or back because it's going to sink, and that's going to be the end of them. I couldn't be that guy. And yes, I had to kind of self-destruct, to reinvent, to prove things work, to re-emerge.
Yeah.
I can't do that again. Right?
Whoa,
this is
so fucking true.
This is it.
This is it.
This is the trajectory.
I'm at the same fucking place. I feel that in my fucking soul.
It's not about don't go back. It's like you cannot go back.
No. There's no way that I can go back.
But if you are true to yourself and you've got a solid foundation, like you said, a business owner, it's not based on artificial, anybody. We can hire a villa, we can have a mastermind, all of this stuff. Is it really conducive to helping other people? Is it really conducive to actually helping yourself and living a fulfilled life? Right? Because you've got to be fulfilled. Like, money is not my motivation. I don't give a crap, right? It's like people are the reason I do this stuff.
Right. So you went back to England and you started in the niche. It was fishing, and you
love fishing.
You implemented what you taught in funnels.
Absolutely. And look, in England, we fish for big specimen carp, and these things, you kind of put them back in the water, you take a picture, you don't kill these things. And there's only a small audience of people, right? There's only 100,000 or so people who actually fish for this fish. Wow. And England fits into Texas 3-4 times, right?
Right.
England is small. So if you think, how the hell do you break into a niche? Well, you can go on TikTok and do cosmetics, and there's millions. Everybody wants cosmetics all around the world. Everyone wants, I don't know, furniture or something that everybody wants. Everybody wants food, but not everybody wants specimen carp fishing equipment or specialist whatever. Right? There's only a small group of people. And if you go into a market like that, maybe it's your passion, notwithstanding that these guys who tried to sponsor us were kind of like, oh, that'll never work. We need you to do this thing, and Amazon or some stuff. And I was like, oh man, that's like crazy. I know that this thing will work, but it's not about the niche. It's about the principles, right? And I have always had 3 principles. Where's my hand? Everything's disappeared. I've always had 3 principles. Technology must work. Yeah, you put the right offer in front of the right people and you build and maintain relationships. If you do that, you will be successful. But you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your technology. You've got to understand how to make an offer and put that in front of the right people. But once you start to do that, just like a fish, the small fish will grow into big fish. Right? And they keep swimming back to you and they keep eating the food that you're giving them, right? If you can build those relationships and maintain those relationships with the right people, you will be successful. And look, 5 years later, $3 million, 5,000 5-star reviews, ranked, top of the niche with, the best shop and the best everything in that niche. We kind of proved not only once, but 1,000 times over that this stuff works. And these guys love us and we love them, and we've got a great community, and we've done something fantastic, and we're never going to leave these guys. But the time has come to take that knowledge and learning and help the people who want to do cosmetics, or help the people who want to do coaching, or help the people who want to build a webinar or whatever it is. Because I know that the knowledge and skills and stuff that I've been given, well, I can't use all this stuff on my own.
Right.
And I know that the journey at some point will come to an end. So when that journey ends, if you've not left a legacy and you've not helped people, then what the hell was you doing?
Right.
You see how like crazy that is, but also how powerful and liberating that is. Ultimately in business, some people are not going to like you and some people are. And they talk about being polarized, and you're either one end of the spectrum or the other. Kind of important. But I also think that you've got to get on with your own journey and stop worrying about everybody else's journey as well, until you're at the point where you can actually help. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think maybe our values aligned in that. When we connected, there was something there, because that's what I always believed as well. But I just couldn't get the connection between that and money. And what you said was the right offer in front of the right people and building those relationships. And I didn't put out an offer. I was trying to put out an offer.
That's a big thing. And whether you're doing fishing or you're doing coaching or you're building stuff for people or affiliate marketing or whatever it is, there are so many people who think they have failed or think they're not capable, or get back in that boat and row back to whence they came, or just totally, you know, they abandon ship, they give up, they don't even make it to the island. So many people do that. And it's nothing to do with their skills or their content or even their abilities. It's because they don't ask. Right?
We need a pause. That was because that's the whole fucking thing. In my experience, that's everything.
Can I tell you a little story?
Please do.
There's a guy who we grew up, and he's one of my friends from childhood, right? And we used to go camping with this guy and spend a big bunch of time at his house and get into all sorts of mischief and on adventures. And on the weekend, we all wanted to do stuff, right? And we'd run home and be like, Mum, or Nana or whatever, I need some money for the fishing or the bowling or the go-karts or whatever crap we were doing. Look, there was no mobile phones, there was no internet, there was no YouTube and TikTok back then. I'm 40 odd now, right? So it's how we get that boat is well and truly on its journey. But my friend, he could never, ever, ever ask his mum for like £5 or £3. Oh. And instead of just like, we'd all run in and be like, hey, Mum, I need some money. We're going go-karting, right? And your mum would be like, oh, back. She'd find a bit of change, whatever it was, and she'd give it, and she'd say, don't come back. Go and do your thing, right? We'll go swimming or we do some stuff. My buddy, he would sit at the end of the couch near his mum, right? And she'd be like, what you doing here? She just thought he was sat there at the end. He'd try and move a little bit closer to his mum, and he'd sit there and he'd sort of look at her, and then he'd think, maybe I could do something for my mum. So he'd go and make her a cup of tea. He'd bring her a cup of tea. He'd bring this cup of tea, and he'd put it down next to his mum, and she's like, oh, thanks, son. Thanks so much for that. He never actually asked, please, can I have some money to do this thing? He would try and, do something nice, or he'd sit there until she said, what do you want? Are you not playing out? And at that point, he'd be like, well, Mum, everybody's going fishing. And she'd be like, well, why didn't you say so? There's some money. Oh. But only probably twice out of every 50 attempts, or, a very small portion, did he get that money. And by the time he'd got the money, we had all been and come back.
Oh, it was too late.
It was too late. My friend died 3 years ago.
No.
And we had to go around to see him at his mum's, and he was led there in the coffin in the front room, and he's younger than me, and he's dead.
No.
And when, we lost touch a little bit, and, we went with separate ways. When his mum told me the shit life that he'd lived and the troubles that he'd got into, and he'd separated from his partner and he didn't see his kid and all of this stuff, yeah, it was sad. And, we can all go down that sad route, and we miss him, and we buried this guy and all the rest of it. And, we love that guy. But there's something within me that says, if he could only have asked, and if he would have persistently asked, his life could have taken a whole different sort of journey. It could have gone in a whole different boat.
Right.
And it was a sad set of circumstances. He's passed away, and that's terrible. The thing that resonates is, if he had only asked his mum, or if he had only asked his landlord, or if he had only asked his employer, or if he'd have only asked his partner or somebody for help when he needed it, right? He could still be here. And that is a boat that has never made it to the island. And if you think about that, if that's not enough reason for you to get up now and change that shit, whatever the thing is, if you need to burn that boat, burn it now. because you might not get that chance. And I see that, right? And I understand, and I don't know how and why or whatever, but well, where would you rather be? In an island that you, or in a place that you don't fully understand, but you're kind of doing something good, or not?
Right.
That's a poignant thought, right? And
that's really deep. I don't know where I got my courage. I might not be the smartest one in the room, but I've been courageous and have learned how to ask. But I learned that that wasn't always the best thing sometimes. Like, why are you asking so many questions? Why are you so nosy? So I had that voice, right? But the reason we sit in Mexico doing what we're doing is because I was relentless. And I found that journey to come to Mexico is about the same as it is to build a business. Everything that could possibly have come up came up, but I had a goal. And my husband said, this whole process is like standing on the edge of the cliff with you, because he doesn't live on that edge like I do. But even the businesses, I'm on the edge all day long, like always moving and going, moving forward, and things coming out of fucking nowhere. And I couldn't even, like this week alone, I don't know how I made it till Friday, right? And sometimes you're just like, what the fuck is happening? And then it's like, whoo, but that was 2 days ago, and it's a totally different day today. So there's that, and I wouldn't get off this ride for anything, but that asking is the key. Asking for what I need and asking people to do and say and be and all of it. It's such a big piece of this journey.
I asked you to go and get some clients, and you went that place and you asked some people to come and be a client, right?
I did.
And we spent some time in Jamaica with Les Brown a few years ago, and that was amazing. And I was fortunate enough to be able to speak on a stage at Les Brown's event, and there was like 1,200 Jamaican business owners there, all interested, all eager to learn. And Les Brown obviously does this thing, and he's like one of the most amazing people in the entire world. And we love Les, and that's learned so much from that. My presentation at that thing was, you are one conversation away, right? You're not one funnel away or one boat ride away or whatever. You're a conversation away. Because look, somebody could say no, right? My friend's mum could have said no. My mum used to say no. She's like, you've had enough money. You went there last week. No, go to the park.
Right.
If you don't ask, you kind of limiting your ability to move forward in any way. It's like, hey, can I ride on your boat with you? It's like, this boat's leaving and I want to go on that sucker. I don't want to stand at the dock thinking maybe they'll choose me.
Right.
Because nobody's coming to choose you.
Nobody's coming to save you.
No, I watched Stephen Larson on the affiliate program the other night, literally 2 nights ago in a Clickfunnels group. And he was saying exactly the same. Nobody will come and do this shit for you. Nobody's going to come and save you. Nobody cares about your emotions. They only care about like the money that's coming out of your pocket or the words that are coming out of your mouth. You see, like, if you can kind of think, well, what have I got to lose? What do I need to ask? Because let me answer, what have you got to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Sometimes that might be a good thing, right? But if you're running out of boats, or you're running out of time, or you're running out of opportunities, maybe the change and the conversation that you need to make, you need to have to make that change needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Right.
And I know this is a little bit deep, but I'm hoping that this is helping people who might be stuck thinking, I've got all this stuff, but I don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, ask somebody who does.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Like, dude, how do I do this shit? And they can either say, pay me $500 or 10,000. If you're confident that that person's got the answer and you're confident in your own ability, but you don't ask, or do you? Yeah. Pick that phone up, dude. Make the call. Do the thing. Ask for a sale. Ask for a boat ride. Ask for advice. Ask for help.
Yeah, that's what I did on that couple of times that we were on those calls. I went into the ClickFunnels group. I got those 3 calls. You said, call me back with your objections. So you knew I was going to get objections. I didn't know what I was going to get. I got the objections. You said, you're going to say this next time. oh, and what are you going to offer? I said, oh, $97. He says, okay, next time you're going to add $20 to that. Fuck, click.
That,
and I know you're not that harsh. Like in my head, that's what I heard.
Some people need that, but look, if the answers frighten you, you need to stop asking scary questions, right? You can't be frightened of what people are going to say. Chances are it's either yes or no.
Yeah, and I got some no's, but I got more yeses than I would have ever thought I would get.
And that's a big thing. It's like what you think is never reality. Never. Because this week, I've thought it, you've thought it, business owners on the edge of that cliff have thought it. You think, oh man, this is going to happen. You know, there's this anxiety, but before you know it, you're 50, you're 60, you're dead. Yeah. You see what maybe you're 70, 80, 90, you're dead, whatever. But if you continually torture yourself about what might happen if you do that real, what might they say? What might they say? As part of the reason why I've grown this big silly beard, right, is like to deliberately, I've literally grown this sucker since the point I started that ecom business. I like the beard, right? Some people won't, and some people will come and tell me you will not be successful with that beard, and I'm like, look, I can shave this shit off, but you can't shave off that attitude.
Right?
It's like, who cares about somebody's opinion if they're not paying your bills or doing some, what does that actually do for you apart from make you want to run back to that boat?
Right.
I'll grow this big long fucker. I'll grow this as long, because I know how many people they want to get up. They want to be clean cut. They want to blend in with the crowd. They want to be just like everybody else. See the psychology that it's like, I'm not suggesting everybody goes and grows a crazy beard, but treat yourself. Oh, we'll never have enough money. We can never do these things. Go and buy yourself something. Buy yourself a watch. Buy yourself some jewelry. Do something to treat yourself, right? You see how liberating that is. It's like, oh man, your money comes back. Your time doesn't. Right. You see what I mean? You can't take this money with you. People need to ask. Ask for permission. You've got my permission. You've got Pamela's permission. Yep. We're living proof that every week, business owners, entrepreneurs, whether it's us, I don't know, whoever the people are that are above us, we all suffer from the same thinking. But it's our ability to think, well, yeah, maybe it'll happen, but it probably won't.
Yeah.
And while I'm in that thought process, who the hell do I ask to get me out of this mess or out of this problem? It's just like, oh man, we owe this money. We'll ring the guy you owe the money to and ask for help paying it off. You see, like, that's a big thing right now. People owing money, right? But they won't ask anybody to help them with that. They're suffering in silence. It's a crazy world right now, and it's only going to get crazier.
Right.
And business owners who are dipping their toe in, or they're not prepared to burn the boats, are going to be the ones that get crunched up.
Big time.
Do you want to be crunched up, or do you just want to start asking for shit?
Right. Those are the two choices. And I think people think there's more choices than that. Those are the two choices.
There's not really many more choices. I don't know any other choices.
If there'd have been one, I'd have found it.
Sadly, in that exploration and trying to find it, there's people like my buddy who never found it.
Never.
You don't know where you're going to be, right? And you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. You're not only going to be in 6 weeks, 10 weeks, a year, whatever. If you're true to yourself, you're willing to ask, you're prepared to let go, burn that sucker, move forward with conviction that you might not have all the answers, but at least you know that you're moving forward. I think that's got to help. It's got to help more than just me and you sat here talking now on the chat, right? It's got to help people who are thinking, you know what, maybe I will just pick up that phone and ask. maybe I will just have that one conversation, because you never know, they might actually agree with you. They might love this shit. They might be like, you are the answer to my prayers. Yes, you can have the money. Yes, you can go to the fair. Yes, you can do this amazing stuff because you deserve it. But it's only when you turn that key and ask and be determined to go for that no matter what, that you will propel yourself forward.
Absolutely. So asking can happen in funnels as well, right? So having that, yeah, it doesn't always
so look,
verbally.
In a funnel, it's a very similar thing. You're asking a customer to make one of two choices, right? It's either go or stay.
Yeah.
You can opt in or you can go. Think about this, right? Think about funnels. We talk about funnels. There's funnels, everybody's building funnels, right?
Right.
And a lot of people think that a funnel is like, I don't know. It's 2 pages in Clickfunnels or whatever software you're using, right? And they think that is the funnel. So you're building a funnel and you're going to drive ads and you're going to get leads and that's it. That's going to be your life forever. I don't know. Think about your funnel as a rail network, right? Think about railway stations, places where people get onto trains. Yeah. Right. So your opt-in funnel, your 2 pages, where's my hands gone? The 2 pages that you've got is opt-in and thank you. Yeah. And connecting those 2 stations is a track. And people are going to turn up at this first station and they're going to look at that big board and it's going to say, the train to the thank you page leaves in 5 minutes because there's a timer, there's an announcement. You can get on this sucker or you can stay at the station. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So some people get on. That's your conversion rate, right? So 55% have got on the train and they went to the next station. The other 45% stayed back in Preston or stayed back in London or stayed back in Mexico or stayed back in Vancouver or wherever, right? They're still looking through the window. They're still listening to the next announcement. At some point, that train station is going to close. That sucker's going to disappear. That train ain't going to run no more. The people who got on that train are now at another station.
Right.
And whether that's a webinar or that's a sale, a product. But as an entrepreneur, you don't need to have all of this network laid out at once. In 3 months, you could say, well, look, we're now going to build this other station, this course, this video content, this, in the fishing, we did carp flicks, we did carp stickers, we did all of these crazy, like, extra little stations along the journey, but we didn't do them all at once. You look at Russell Brunson stuff. So he started off with, we just got Clickfunnels, but now people are going into Clickfunnels 2.0 and there's Funnel Hacking Live and there's the 2 Comma Club and all this stuff. That wasn't all done in one day, right? In my business, your business, you don't build all that stuff at one day. But what you've got to understand is you're moving people from station to station. And you can build stations down the line. So your funnel never actually ends until you want it to. You see how powerful that is? Yeah. So it's like everything is a funnel. If you're just calling people on the phone and closing them on a deal, you're still taking them from station A to station B. You're still taking them from the start to another point, not the end. It's never the end. You could say, right, well, we're going to build a track that kind of goes like that now. We're going to have people that go this way, people that go that way. Some people are going to the seaside. Some people are going to the mountains. But when they get there, hey, let's have a cable car that connects to the other side of the mountain. Hey, let's have a boat ride. Hey, let's have a rocket that goes to the moon. A small percentage will keep coming on the journey and they will keep coming with you as long as you lay that track, as long as you provide a vehicle for those people to keep moving. And if everything is naturally aligned and consistent with what you stand for and what you do and what you deliver, why would people not get on that new train?
Right. Hallelujah. Right. Why would they not get on the train?
Why are they not going to get on the train? It's like, holy crap, Pamela's got a new journey and we've done all this awesome stuff. And now I'm at the new station and I can see, I know what it is. There's a thing and it says the train leaves. the train to Mexico leaves at 18:03.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go to Mexico or do you want to stay in Canada? You've got a choice at that point. You get on or you don't.
Right.
What you've got to, just like the burning the boat thing, what you've got to kind of understand, though, is that that train might only be running once. And if you miss that sucker, you need to go and catch a bus. You need to go in somebody else's funnel, right? You need to go to a different. Often when you do that, you're actually going back.
Yeah.
Or potentially you're going down a route that you're uncomfortable with, like, hey, we'll sponsor you. I'm going on this guy's bus and now the wheels have fell off. And it's, oh man, you see how you can quickly be derailed?
Absolutely.
If you think about whatever you're building in your business as a series of connections between one point and another, and you don't have to build them all at once, that just gives you time. That gives you the ability to stand back and think, let's just focus on A to B before we do Z.
Right.
I think I'm at, like, I don't know, G, maybe. It's like where.
Yeah.
I think the minute you stop thinking that you just need 2 pages in ClickFunnels or a site or some WordPress or whatever it is, and you actually are taking people on a journey and you are the conductor, you are the announcer, you're going to be successful. If you start asking and you're prepared to burn a few boats, look, if you get to a station and you're like, oh man, we took a wrong journey, I'm big enough to stand up and accept that as the person who's driving these people forward. Everybody on this train, because we're going that way. We're not going back, we're going that way. And unfortunately, some people are going to get off, some people are going to fall off, some people are going to jump off, but the ones who stay with you, the ones that will keep coming forward. And there's not really much more to it. It's like, oh man, that's a business in an hour, right?
Right.
It's like, ask, don't go back, burn that boat. But don't be afraid of creating new journeys on your pathway to success.
Yeah. And put an offer together that for people that you love, that you'd like to work with, and try it and test it. And sometimes that can be quite scary, I think, that perceived failure, but it's really not. It's just this trying the next thing. And we do it all the time. We're just scared to fail in public.
I think, look, I've failed in public. You know, we all fail in public. There was the time when I did a presentation at the university in Lancashire, and this is a big world-renowned university. They invited me years ago to come and speak, and I was in like the biggest like amphitheater at the university. And I've got all the presentation, and the tech guys come and set all this stuff up and logged in and all of these things. And he's put the presentation on the USB thing, and we've got all this shit on. I'm doing the thing. I'm in mid-floor. I don't know what I was talking about. Something to do with communities or something like that. And I'm very animated, right? So I'm up and down and I'm pointing at stuff. And I turn around and with like the cheek of my ass, I press the reset button on the big like safety plug, and the whole thing goes off. And the IT guy is gone. There's no more presentation. The whole thing's gone. And there's still 20 minutes to go. And people laughed. Some people shouted. Some people walked out. Some people got off the train, right? Yeah. Some people jumped off the train. Some people thought they would never come on that train with this crazy guy ever again. But the people who stayed came up to me at the end. And not only did they laugh, like this was like the funniest thing they've ever seen, but they told me that, look, even though things went wrong for you there and then in front of everybody, and there's like all the lights have gone off and there was uproar in the place, the message is probably amplified by that, but the message still rang through. And that message, I see some of these people now who have been successful and they come back, like you've just come back and you're like, oh, that one thing that you did 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it is, has actually changed the course of my life. I got on the train. Yeah, the lights went out. Yeah, it was a bit bumpy. Yeah, we went on a crazy journey. But if you were to ever like announce a new train and a new journey and a new thing, we would be right there with you. And it's like, that is such a empowering thing. And look, there's always a queue at the complaints booth, right? If people are going to complain, there's a queue down the road. There's not many people who line up at the appreciation booth. Maybe that's the thing that people need to do as well, is ask. Is like, go and thank people that have been instrumental in the life. And you know, as much as I've helped you in your journey, how you've helped me. You see, that thing works both ways. And there's a lot of people who don't realize the magnitude of what they've actually said or done, or how they've reacted at that right point in time, because I've never had a chance to tell them.
Right.
Does that make sense? Or
absolutely.
But I know that without folks like yourself, and indeed, you know, the things that we've done, the things we've discussed, where we are right now, maybe I wouldn't have carried on paddling that boat. Maybe I wouldn't have carried on building train stations and thinking about, if only I could, or, you know, what happens if we do this? That thought process is all well and good, but if nobody's at your station, you see how powerful that is? You need to give thanks, and you need to be humble. And I think going back to like ground zero and starting from absolutely like nothing and growing a big community, 20,000 people in there at one point, it was like 17,000 still in there, mailing lists, and yeah, we made some money and all the rest of it. We gave away a big bunch of stuff. The actual gratitude now to this point where people are writing on Trustpilot and writing in reviews, it's going to be sad when you've gone, or this is, you know, it's the end of an era. And I'm like, well, maybe it's not quite the end of the journey for you guys, because I've got this thing that the best people, the ones who have stuck with us from the beginning, you can still come along on this journey with us, and you never know. Yeah, you can catch big fish and you've got lots of nice fishing tackle, but you never know where this next step's going to go. And right. You know what? The fishermen are now becoming marketers.
That's so powerful.
Because they're like, there's a vehicle for change. You know, you look at the perfect webinar.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing in there is, you know, there's a vehicle, right? There's a vehicle for change. And then there's two things about the internal and external beliefs.
Right.
Your internal beliefs are holding you back. Your mum and your sister and your people in your family are talking crap. No, this will never work, or go and get a proper job. But you know that there's a vehicle for change. You've got to choose that sucker wisely.
Yeah.
Are you getting that right vehicle? And you think about it as, these things that we've discussed on this show tonight, you can do anything. You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. And look, the people are there, right? They're right there.
They are. I think there's a lot more people around than we think there are. And this has been so powerful. I know we wanted to talk about reviews. We wanted to talk about a lot of things. Tell us what you're up to now. Tell me where can people find you? What are you up to?
So for me, the AI stuff has played a big part, even in the fishing business. We're not going to leave our fishermen behind. We've got a plan for that. We're doing events and a bunch of stuff going forward. But my heart and soul really rests in helping people around the world to become financially free. Mm-hmm. And look, you know, when you see your best buddy led down in the coffin, and you realize he's younger than you and he's not going to ever have that opportunity, and his mum tells you this guy's been living in a bad way and he's had a bad life and all of these things, and it's down to, yes, external problems, but it's also down to internal problems. You can't blame the guy, right? It's not his fault. You can't blame people who are watching this. But if you can consciously make those decisions to burn the boat, ask the question, right? If I can help one more person, or 1,000 or 1,000,000 people or 10 million people to make those choices and to do the kind of things that you've done, then I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. That's where I want to be. And, you know, we've got little kids and want to build a life around the family, because you've got to ask yourself, yeah, we've got all this crazy stuff going on the internet, but why are we doing this? Why?
Right.
Right? Are you doing this so you can retire when you're 70 and
Right.
live for a few more years and probably have to remortgage your house or some crap to release equity anyway? Or are you doing this to live now in the moment? Why?
Right.
I'm doing this shit for my kids. I'm doing this for my people. I'm
Right.
doing this stuff selfishly for me, but I know that if I can get the balance right, that everybody's going to go on a great journey. Everybody's going to get the best of me, and they're also going to get the best of themselves.
Right.
But I've also realized that I can't do it on my own. And when you've got little kids, or you only need to turn on the TV, right? So if you watch a 5-minute cartoon on the TV, everybody watched the cartoon at some point, right? Yeah. When you get to the end of that cartoon, the credits start rolling. And there must be 50 names on those credits to make a little itsy bitsy cartoon that's lasted 3 minutes.
Right.
You've got the director, the producer, the animation guy, the team for this, the camera dude. There's all these different people that come together to make a 5-minute cartoon.
Right.
But you're sitting there thinking, I need to be a web designer. I need to be a CEO. Oh, I need to
preach
all of this shit. But to make a 5-minute itsy bitsy tiny cartoon for kids, you need 50 people.
Right.
Are you going to do all of this crazy shit on your own and change the world?
Yeah.
Ask.
Fuck. This is so, I preach this stuff all the time because I learned it myself, right? I didn't have the time to learn everything myself. And for somebody like yourself who's been so successful, to hear you say it, it's just so powerful. I hope that the people that are listening can really hear it, because that's
let's see that, leave us some comments in the fishing thing. At one point we was doing 3 lives a week, 3 1-hour lives a week. I must have done 1,000 live videos, right? From speaking back in the university to from way back to asking mum, can I have some money? It was always in me. And if that's the message that I have to teach, ask the question. Yeah, burn your boat when you get to that juncture in life where you know that this is it. Don't burn your boat if you're thinking, oh man, I'm not sure about this thing. You burn it when it's time to burn it, right? Yeah. But if you know that is what you want, now is the time. But don't think if you write some stuff in Chat GPT that you're an expert, right? Because you're not. Wait for the people to tell you that you're an expert.
Yeah.
If somebody introduced me and said, hey, it's Danny and he's an expert in this stuff, I'd be like, oh man, you're telling me that, so that's a bit of, that's sort of like verifying it a little bit. But imagine if 10 people say that, or 20 people say that, or 100 people say that. But don't ever say that stuff yourself.
Right.
You go up there and say, hey, I'm an expert, unless you've got the masses of actually confirmed that, and your work confirms that.
Right.
Because you're only as good as the legacy that you leave behind.
Right. So how can they find you? How can everybody find you?
Man, you just look for the crazy guy with the beard. Yes, we are kind of like been in the shadows a little bit, but over the last few weeks, things like Reels and YouTube and TikTok and all of this stuff, and it's under the banner of maybe Danny Walsh or Walsh Marketing. There's links and stuff that I can share with people, but is it really about me? They can find me through you, right? It's like, hey, Pamela, who's that dude? How do I connect with him? I'm sure we can share a link. It's not about me. It's about people. And even if they never see me again, if one little thing that I've said on this thing tonight makes somebody think, you know what, I'm going to have that conversation. I'm going to ring up the boss. I'm going to quit my job. That's kind of like burning your boat. I'm going to go all in on this. I'm going to tell my husband X, Y, and Z. I'm going to tell, whatever this thing is that you're getting anxious about, that's like eating your soul.
Right.
Imagine if you could just be free from that tomorrow.
Oh, right. And I can attest the help that you gave me, there was never any like strings or anything. Like you just genuinely wanted to help me, and you did it too. You were willing to take and be that strong with me. Not everyone can be that. Everybody's worried about what people are going to think of them, but you didn't. You genuinely wanted to help, and you did. It was strong and it was powerful, and it changed. I learned to be that with others.
Sometimes when you're paddling the boat and you've got a bunch of people in the boat, right? And everybody's kind of like, we're going on this journey together. You look back and there's somebody sat there on that boat who isn't paddling. You look back and there's somebody who's just dived off. You look back and, like I said, when you get to the island, there's chances are that there's only you actually still paddling. So how do you keep people on board, but also how do you keep the right people on board? Because those cartoons, if your animator doesn't turn up or your producer can't produce,
right,
or somebody's relying on artificial intelligence to say they're an expert, then that boat is never going to reach its destination, or you're going to turn up with, oh man, where did everybody go? And there's a lot of folks who will happily let people do the paddling for them.
right.
It's like, yeah, Pamela, build my thing. You know, we was on a flight and there was a bunch of us and we'd all been to a thing. It was over in the States. And one of the guys, he actually came to my seat on like some Delta flight. I don't know, it was like out of Atlanta or something like that. And he sits next to me in this empty seat, which is a rarity on a US Delta flight, right? So there's like this empty seat. The guy sits down, opens his laptop, and he's like, finish the funnel up, man. I did not come to finish your funnel. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I've been there.
But the guys who took the learning and the nuggets and the bits and pieces that they needed, they finished their funnels and they made a big bunch of money. And now they're into, you know, they've got a whole rail network and they've got all this crazy shit going on, and people are traveling on the journey with them. Where do you think the guys are who say, do it for me?
They didn't want the responsibility. They abdicated responsibility for their lives.
They went back. Because trust me, the internet's a magical thing. I can go and see example after example where people decided to take that responsibility and go their own journey, to do their own thing, to believe in this stuff. And there's also, unfortunately, a bunch of people who chose to go the other way, to run back, to get in the boat, and they're either out there drowning or sinking, or now they're trying to ask, please, will somebody do this again?
Right. But there's no cards. I always see cards, but there's no cards left to play. You've played them all, right? So you're out.
You played your cards, and ultimately, you've done something that's so detrimental to your own self. Don't wait until that time runs out to realize. Yeah. Sort it now. Do it now.
Yeah.
Go in that group and get 3 clients.
Well, this is a great place to end. Yes, let's just go do it now. Thanks.
Go do it now. Do it now. And look, you're amazing. And I know your people, your clients who aspire to do the things that you're doing. One day they're going to be in the same position doing interviews or running their big business or whatever it is. And they've got that same responsibility to keep laying the tracks, be concise. The biggest takeaway I could give you from all of the things I've done wrong is set expectations clearly.
Yeah.
Because if you expect miracles and they don't happen, you're in trouble. But if you kind of like, look, this journey is going to be a little bit bumpy, but we're going to get there, people are like, yeah, I believe in that.
Yeah. Thank you, Danny. Thank you so much. I'm so proud to call you my friend.
I can't wait to link up, right? We've got some exciting stuff coming, and you don't look. I can see the vision. I can see the mountain. Some people might see the mist around the mountain. Some people don't even know there's a mountain there. But look, there's a big thing coming. There's a big journey ahead, and there's another direction. It's all moving in the right way. But I've kind of figured a bunch of stuff out over these last few years that is so pivotal in not only for me but for everybody.
Right.
I've just got to share this stuff now. So people will see me around. You'll see me around, and I'm sure we'll be in the same room before too long. And man, the time of like waiting is over.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm grateful to be alive at this time, right? Like just to be in this part, yeah. Because I grew up, there wasn't a computer. Well, there might have been, right? But yeah, back in the day. So
well, the people are there, and you see this stuff on the internet where people going crazy and doing videos and getting all of these followers and likes, and you're thinking, oh man, I could never do that. Stop watching that stuff, right? Because there's still people who are making a big bunch of money by placing ads in the back of the old newspaper.
Sure are. Yeah, there sure are.
Don't put yourself in somebody else's shoes and try and look at it through somebody else's eyes until you've looked at it through your own.
Yeah. Until you've looked through it with your own. That's brilliant. Yeah. Okay, my friend.
Thank you.